Welcome to Saints Live. What a glorious day on the sunny south coast. You can see the pictures now of the Southampton team arriving earlier at St Mary's Stadium. Now we are still searching for our first 3 points of the season, but Ralph and his men will be hoping to put that right today as we welcome West Ham. My name's Kenzie Benali.
And I'm Steve Forbes.
And what a stellar lineup of guests we have joining us today. Here is Dean Hammond and Franny Benali. Welcome both.
Good to see you.
Your first show as well.
It is, yeah. I'm sort of joining the team now properly, aren't I? And especially in the flesh as well. And yeah, great to see Dino and have a catch up with him as well. So yeah, really looking forward to today.
Yeah, Dean, so nice to see you in person.
It's lovely to be here, Kenzie, at the stadium. Usually, like you say, via Zoom. Lovely to have Franny here and see him again. And I must admit, I feel a little bit underdressed. I must admit, Franny looks very smart.
He's outdone us all.
He's outdone us all,
yeah. He looks very well.
Dino's normally got his shorts and slippers on when he's doing a game, so he's had to get dressed today.
Yeah, and try and keep the kids quiet, so I'm all right today. I'm nice and relaxed.
Well, it's great to have you guys along, definitely. Right, so the team news will be with us in around about 15 minutes' time. Kenzie will be bringing that. We do know that Will Smallbone, Theo Walcott, Shane Long, and also Stuart Armstrong are unavailable to today. Franny, seeing as you are a debutant on Saints Live, we'll come to you first. What have you made of Southampton's season so far? We're 2 draws and 1 defeat in.
It's been promising, Steve. It's quite clearly we would like to have got that first win under our belts, albeit just a few games into the season. I guess maybe Newcastle, you would say, would have been maybe a game to have gone to maybe look to get those 3 points, but with crowds coming back in and St James's Park, as Dino would know, when that place is rocking in there behind the team, it can make it even harder to sort of go and get a result. But only look at what we experienced here against Manchester United. The support that was behind the team, the atmosphere that was here, really gave the team a lift, I think. So we saw that on the pitch. We saw how they fought on that day. But yeah, it's going to be a big test and a big challenge, and I'm sure we'll come to that. But yeah, certainly hoping that we'll kick off today with 3 points.
We certainly hope so. And of course, Dean, in the last match, Moyele Nusi was given a chance. He got a goal as well, of course. Do you think he deserves to keep his place in the team today?
I hope so, Kenzie. I think he definitely deserves to. I think the performances since he came in against Newcastle was very good. He keeps possession very well. He looks fit and strong. What I like is he looks like he wants to play for the club, which I think is really important. Obviously, the goal he got he's a little bit different. He's a midfield player that's willing to get into the box. I think he's similar to Armstrong in terms of he's technically very good. But the one thing I also like is that when he got his opportunity against Newport, he scored a hat-trick. And then he got into the manager's reckoning. And that's all you can do as a player. You can work hard in training, but when you get your opportunity, you need to impress. And I think he's done that. And he looks happy. He's had an impact. So I hope he continues to stay in the team today. I really do.
And Franny, we saw Kyle Walker-Peters play at left-back against Newcastle. Is that something you like, or would you rather see a more naturally sided left-footer play on that side?
I would have struggled with it personally, Steve, to be honest, sort of like just because I've done it a couple of times, not in a first team game, but for me personally, I had to think more about my positioning being on the right-hand side, whereas it just comes natural when you're playing on your natural stronger side. He's done incredibly well. I mean, he's a fabulous footballer. I think in some ways he's almost been unfortunate to have missed out not starting the season in his favoured position. But Livermento's come in and done so well, hasn't he? Yeah. So it's interesting. It's a dilemma for Ralph, but it's great that he's got that flexibility that he can go in and slot in at left back. If I was the left back, if I was someone like Roman, for example, I'd maybe be a little bit unhappy thinking, why is a right-footed player playing left back when I'm a recognised left back myself? So there's competition in the squad, which is amazing, and the fact that he gives Ralph that flexibility and he can play at left back, I think is only good for the squad and the team. So, but having said that, I'm sure he would want to play at right back, to be honest.
I was going to ask, if you were ever asked to do that. You said never in a first team match, though.
No, not in a competitive game, thankfully. Probably because what they saw on the training ground was enough to convince them not to ever put me at right back in a competitive game. But I did. I mean, my right foot was pretty much just for standing on, to be honest.
So was mine, and I was right-footed, Franny.
But it does, like I say, you have to think. I had to consciously think even more when I was on the right-hand side of defence, which is naturally why I stayed on the left-hand side whenever I could.
Oh yeah, it's Ralph now, isn't it? I totally forgot about that bit. We're going to go to Ralph now. He's been speaking about the international break, and he wasn't very happy about that hectic schedule.
I think at the moment it's definitely a problem. send the players all over the world to play some games somewhere. I also don't understand why in the moment you have to play 3 games. You have really a big problem with preparing for the weekend because they're coming back you see, on Thursday earliest. So you have maybe 1.5 days to prepare for the weekend. We were agreeing for 2 games, and the last must be on Tuesday, so that you have a little bit more time for our job, what we have to do. And in the moment, you have also the issue with the COVID situation. Still, traveling is still not the easiest one, and as soon as you have to have the quarantine issue, you must definitely block players from going somewhere.
Well, Ralph clearly unhappy about the international schedule there. Both Bednarek and Broer both played for their countries on Wednesday night, over 1,000 miles away. It's really very little time for them to prepare, isn't it, Dean? Can you understand why Ralph is frustrated?
I can definitely understand why he's frustrated. From a coach's point of view, he'll want more time with the players, as much time as he possibly can to work on things at the training ground. Obviously the recovery as well. If he's going to select them today, can he even select them because of that? But you look at it on the flip side, you look at Broer, he's gone away with I think it is, and he scored a last-minute winner against Hungary. He's come on and scored against San Marino as well. So for him as well, going away, it will build on his confidence. You know, he's not starting for Southampton at the moment, but he's gone away and represented his country and performed very, very well. So that's a positive for the manager, but I can understand it. It's really tough for the players. Unfortunately, I never played international football, so I don't know what that experience is like, but I know what it was like for players coming back into the squad. They were coming on a Thursday, they were tired. You know, that travelling is very, very hard. And then the manager's got a dilemma. You know, do I pick a player that's in form, but may not be up to speed because he's tired? It's tough. And the manager, all he wants is his squad together so he can work on things, so he can really be prepared for a tough game today.
Franny, it was another international break where we didn't see James Ward-Prowse selected for England. How much do you want to see him in Gareth Southgate's plans?
Well, I think you'd love to see any of your players in getting international recognition. I mean, we know from a Southampton perspective how good a pro he is, you know, his personality, his character, you know, and sort of wanting him to sort of step up to that next level of international football. I thought he was very unfortunate not to have been selected in the Euros squad. You know, I think I was more disappointed about that in some ways. He would naturally want to be representing his country for sure, and you know, he's just got to keep doing what he's been doing for so long for Southampton, keep leading by example. He's the skipper now, and we know what he produces on the pitch. He's just got to keep doing things here right for Southampton, as he has done in the past, to keep sort of giving Gareth Southgate a nudge to keep in the international frame. But in some ways I agree with what Dino said, that from a supporter's perspective and a manager's point of view, it's great having players playing international football, especially under Broer's circumstances, like I say, getting that confidence, scoring the goals. But at the same time, you don't really want to be losing your players to international football, because potentially there's the fatigue side of it, but also potential injuries as well that it could pick up. So from a selfish point of view, I'm pleased he's here at Saints and hasn't had to go away, but would love to see him get international recognition.
Yeah, most definitely. He really deserves it, doesn't he? Now, Dean, since the last match, the transfer window has shut, so the squad is set for the next 4 months. Are you pleased with the business Southampton got done over the summer?
I am pretty pleased. I'm pretty confident of what the manager's tried to do. I think the squad looks a little bit younger, it really does. I think the replacement for Ings in Armstrong has been very, very shrewd. He's almost an identical player, you know, and the way his movement, the way he works, his finishing we see from his goal here, that's a very natural finish, and what you'd expect from potentially Danny Ings. And Livramento, I mean, he's been a revelation. He really has. I didn't realise how good a player he was. I'm not sure the manager did, if I'm honest, because Kyle Walker-Peters was exceptional last season, but he's come in and he's added so much to the team, the way he drives forward. So I think it's been good business from the club, and I looked at the stats, I looked at the figures. I think the club has spent something like 35 million, but recruited nearly 50 million. So it's a £15 million profit. Is the team any weaker? I don't necessarily think so. I think that there's a bit more depth within the squad. There's some more development to come for the squad, and I think the players will be looking forward and be willing to the manager on the training ground because they're younger, they're willing to learn. So it'll be interesting to see, but from a personal point of view, I'm pretty happy with the business Southampton have done.
You look at that age group, I think that Dino's touched on, that the club have brought into the group now. You know, there may be one or two that are maybe not just quite ready for that to step up week in, week out in the Premier League. I mean, Livramento stepped in, obviously, these boys, small from Everton. I mean, these guys will haven't tasted first team football. They'll be wanting to break through as soon as possible, I'm sure. And that's added competition to the group. I think I put in my programme notes in the magazine today that, you know, they've got to be pushing the players in the starting 11, not just in the games, like I said, the cup tie, like Dino mentioned with Elianusi, but day in, day out on the training ground as well, to be given that added competition, improving themselves, but also a selection headache for Ralph as well.
And Franny, as Dean said, some of those players have made an instant impact, but what do you feel what do you make of the squad as a whole now that the transfer window is shut?
I think it's looking healthy. You know, there's Adam Armstrong's off the mark straight away. That goal at Everton was a brilliant way to start. Livramento's come in, hit the ground running. So, you know, there's positive signs from the signings we've made already. Hopefully others will come in and push the current crop that are in the side at the moment as well. So, yeah, I think we just need to start getting those wins under our belt, build that confidence a little bit more, and I think we'll see hopefully some progression as the months go on.
Who's been your favourite signing out of all of them?
Blimey, that's a tough one. I think you've got to look at Livramento coming in, like being just such a young age, and like the maturity that he shows, the potential where you think where he could go as a player is an exciting one. But I'm really excited to see some of the other players that have signed that hopefully will get an opportunity to break through. Also look at the players that we've got here as well already. They've got a key role, Romeo, Ward-Prowse, other players that have almost got to step up and be those leaders in the dressing room as well, and bring through that younger crop of players as well. So it's exciting times for sure. We just want to get that win today, hopefully, to kickstart our season with a win.
Yeah, it is important, isn't it? Because we are yet to get off the mark. Those 3 points today could really set us up ahead of a tricky run of fixtures coming up, Dean.
Yeah, it can, and like Fanny said, as a player, you want that first win. You really, really do. The fixtures have not been too kind, to be honest. I think the performance here against Manchester United was really, really good, really encouraging. Last week, the reaction to Newcastle, you know, losing the game in the 90th minute 2-1 to then finish 2-2 is brilliant, and that bodes well for the squad. It really, really does. But getting that first win is important because it helps so much. It breeds confidence. Franny will tell you, the week in training after a win is so much better. You've almost got that little bit more energy. There's a bit more life within the group, and it brings that belief in what you're doing. You start to believe in a little bit more. You think, okay, we are doing the right things. We are a good team. You know, the players that have come in are settling a little bit more. You're building relationships. You're starting to work together a little bit more, and it's that magic football confidence. It can do so much.
If you were a midfielder in the side today, Dino, because as a defender's point of view, I'm slightly concerned about the goals we concede. You know, it's almost like we have to score 2 goals to win a game of football, and I think we've had 1 clean sheet in the last 24 Premier League games, something like that. Yep. As a midfielder, would you be thinking, want to get the defensive side right, or happy to still join in and do the attacking side and try and outscore a team?
I think your foundation is always defensively, Franny. I think, it's going to be hard, especially in the Premier League, to think we're going to have to score 2 goals every game. So, defensively, I think, like we've touched on there, the first win, I think a clean sheet is really important as well. And as a midfield player, maybe I would be a little bit more cautious, think, well, I need to cover the back four, maybe a little bit more protection, maybe I can't get forward as much. I think they're the things you talk as in a group, and you discuss them within the dressing room, thinking, what could we do a little bit different? Because the team's not far away, it really isn't.
No.
Well, we will be bringing you the team news in under a minute's time now. Plenty of you getting in touch here on Saints Live. Lots of comments coming through across the social channels. Terry White's left us a comment. He says, go Saints, he's looking forward to the match. Ryan also excited for kickoff. He says West Ham are going to lose a game at some point. Hopefully it's today. We certainly hope so, Ryan. Kira is also watching along with us. Hello to you, Kira. She says, wish I could go to the stadium to watch. Hopefully you can get to a game at some point, Kira. We'd love to have you here. We also have Margaret on the live stream. She's going for a 2-1 win to the Saints today. Like the sound of that. Lots of comments as well on YouTube. David Watts says James will be a start for England this year. They don't have a decent, consistent dead ball specialist at the moment. He is fantastic, isn't he? We love Prowsey. Another comment from James. He's going for a 3-1 Saints win. That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? But I'm going to have to cut the comments short because it is time to bring you the team news now. So let's take a look at the Saints team in full then. Perhaps a couple of surprises in there. In goal, Alex McCarthy. The back four, Roman Perro, Mohamed Salisu, Jack Stevens and Tino Livramento. The midfield are captain James Ward-Prowse and Oriol Romeu. Out wide, Moussa Gineppo and Moy Elianusi. And leading the line for the Saints is Nathan Redmond and Adam Armstrong. So let's look at the Southampton substitutes then, shall we? Fraser Forster, Carl Walker-Peters, Lianco, Jan Bednarek, Jan Valery, Ibrahima Diallo, Nathan Teller, Shay Adams and Armando Brower. So I suppose the obvious place to start is no Shay Adams, no Carl Walker-Peters. Are you surprised to see them not included today, Dean?
Yes, slightly. That could do with international football again. You know, Shay's been playing for Scotland. That could be the decision there. I think Perro coming back in, me and Franny will just touch on it, gives the team a bit more balance. You know, a left-footed left back helps. He's maybe had a game out or a couple of games out, or Carl Peters has come back in and he's been able to look at how the team plays. So that's maybe a natural decision. And you know, Nathan Redmond came in, he had a real impact when he came in against Newcastle. You know, the cross for the goal was fantastic. And then the through ball, the outside his foot, I think we're all concentrating on the decision of the penalty. It's an exceptional pass. So, look, West Ham are a very physical team. And I think if we're going to cause some problems today, it may be by being a little bit more cute. And I think Nathan Redmond can bring that with the way he runs with the ball. He looks at them assists like Armstrong does, and the runs from Armstrong getting him behind instead of playing balls up to Shay Adams and him competing with the centre halves. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll always discuss and manage the decision, but no, I like the look of the team.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's an interesting point, isn't it, Dad? Because they were encouraging performances against Manchester United and Newcastle, but Nathan Redmond, when he came on, did make a real impact.
I think it's like we touched on a little bit already, that players now know with the competition within the squad, whenever they're out there, they come on as a sub or they're starting in the starting lineup, they've got to go and produce. They've got to do something, especially players like Nathan, Mo, Moussa. They've got to be the creative side of the team. Adam Armstrong is obviously looking to be that spearhead and look to be getting into the box and be scoring those goals for us. Tweaking it a little bit with Shay and maybe the international, as Dino mentioned, is what Ralph has got to decide on. And obviously he's worked with the players that were here that weren't on international duty, so he'll know where they'll be up to speed. That bit of balance will be great, I think, with Perot coming on the left-hand side today. And you just look at the bench, there's competition on the bench as well. So it's going to be a fascinating game, this, because it's going to be far from easy, I'm sure, against this West Ham side.
Certainly, Franny. Dean, looking at the West Ham team for a second, Michail Antonio is their man, isn't he? You played with him here at Southampton. Could you see the talent in him then, or was he still really raw?
It'd be easy to say yes, wouldn't it, Steve? Do you know what? When he came to the team, what he had was that exceptional pace. He really did. And one thing I liked about Michael was the fact that he plays with very little fear. He plays a game where he believes in himself. He really does. As a young boy coming into the group, he wasn't the loudest, but he was confident on the pitch. He was raw, but he had that pace. And I think at the top level, if you've got that pace, it really, really does help. And he's developed. You know, he's done his work. He's been to other clubs, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield Wednesday. He's worked his way up to West Ham, and the size of him now, the muscle he's put on and the strength and the power he's got, he's a real handful. And I've watched him live. I watched him against Leicester, and he caused them all sorts of problems. The 2 goals he scored, he's getting assists as well, so he's becoming a better player. So did I see he was going to be quite as good as he is? Did I think he would be West Ham's leading Premier League goal scorer? Probably not, but no, all credit to him. I think he's been brilliant.
Looking at it, it's not just the goals, is it, that he's scoring, Dino? Like his assists as well. He's making goals, he's setting up goals for his teammates. I think he's scored four goals, assisted with 3 assists out of 10 Premier League goals West Ham have scored this season. So, you know, he's a big part of their attacking armoury for sure.
Yes, definitely. Well, let's rewind the clock back before we focus more on today's opponents. Last time out, of course, we drew 2-2 against Newcastle. There was drama in that match. We're going to take a look at a clip now. What did you make of the second Newcastle goal, and then, of course, the penalty decision that followed, Dad?
I guess, I mean, you look at the defending, you wince a little bit here. You know, we could have done a little bit better maybe, and it falls for Saint-Maximin, and, you know, he's that sort of personality and that star, I guess, in the Newcastle side, and the right person from Newcastle's perspective for the ball to drop to. I think from a defensive point of view, you can always criticise certain things, but like Dino said, that pass from Nathan Redmond there, it was just brilliant. I didn't really think at the time, I thought it was a great challenge and a block, but obviously sort of having seen the VAR, it was most definitely the correct decision. Lascelles just catches Adams outside of his right foot as he's about to shoot there, and it's the correct decision. VAR doing the right thing there, and then it's the pressure side of it down to James to step up and silence the crowd, and I think we saw that in his celebrations here as well. We see the golf swing, wonderful finish under the pressure, and there's a little shushing of the crowd, which takes a lot of nerve and bottle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to take a penalty full stop, let alone when there's a lot riding on it at that moment of the game.
You're not really synonymous with goal scoring, to be fair, Dad. I'm not sure we would have had you step up for that one.
Dean, Franny touched on it a moment ago with the style of West Ham's play. They always seem to be tough physically. How do Southampton combat that today? How do they step up?
Well, it's going to be tough, Steve. It really is. West Ham are a good team and full of confidence from the season they had last season. But I think, one thing, look at West Ham, they've scored, I think, 10 goals already this season, but they conceded 5 as well. So you're going to get opportunities. You will be able to score goals. So Southampton are going to have to be defensively very, very good. Covering areas, working as a team, working together. Defending set pieces is going to be really, really important, because West Ham are a big team. They really are. And not just a big team, they've got excellent delivery and they attack the ball very, very well. So I think maybe it's that little bit of cuteness, that clever play, that one-touch play. You look at the goal against Manchester United, I know it took a deflection, but it's the ball round the corner, then the flick and then the shot. Play like that today can cause West Ham problems, because they've got big defenders, but they're not the most mobile and they don't want to react to things too quickly. So to be defensively sound is important, have a foundation, stay within the game, and then their moments, just that little bit of creativity, which we've got the players in the team to do.
Yeah, most definitely. And Dad, we touched on it earlier with Dean, but just how important is today's result? Because we've really got a tough run of fixtures coming up. Manchester City away, Wolves at home, Chelsea away. That doesn't look too handsome, does it?
But I don't know about that. I'm sure Dino was the same mindset of the group of players that he played with. In my time as well, we relished those sort of games as well. Yes, it does seem quite daunting, especially if you're having a little bit of an indifferent run of form and things like that. But I don't think that's us at the moment. I think probably the results haven't really reflected how well we've done with the performances at the moment so far this season. So we just want, tighten things up a little bit at the back. Keep that clean sheet that we'd be looking for. That's a positive. That gives you confidence. Then you maybe don't need to just sneak one goal, and that can give you the 3 points. And then all of a sudden that builds the belief, the confidence. You get that win under your belt, and you can then look forward. But you're right, it's a tough run of games, Kens, and that's how they come up sometimes. But every single game in the Premier League, you've somehow got to go out and earn the right to win the points on the day. Today will be a test, will be a challenge for all those reasons Dino's mentioned, but we're capable of doing it, especially here at home, and it's important that we do that.
Yeah, Dean, looking at the fixtures that we've had so far, we've had Everton away, Man United at home, Newcastle away. Last season, our first 3 games, we lost all 3. At least we got 2 points this time going into this fixture. How have you made of the start of the season, or what have you made of the start of the season, and also looking ahead to some really tough fixtures?
Well, like Franny, I've been pretty impressed. If you actually look at the fixtures, the first half against Everton, I thought the performance was very, very good. Didn't perform second half, and Everton deserved to win the game. The performance against Manchester United, we go ahead, we dominate the first half. Man United have a really, really good spell, but then we finished the game really strong, and maybe could have won it with that Adam Armstrong chance. And that's different from last year. Last year we were probably sometimes hanging on and not finishing games strong. So whether that's a mentality, whether that's a conditioning thing, and then last week to react in the 90th minute and get an equaliser was very, very impressive. So I think the start's been pretty good with a new group of players that are working together. There's been that international break as well, so you've not had that chance to get too much training. I think they've done pretty good, and the fixtures coming up, like Franny said, they're tough. Every game in the Premier League is tough. Against Man City, it's going to be tough. Away to Chelsea is going to be tough. But if you look at the 2 home games, if we can get a performance today and a result against West Ham, and then you look at the Wolves game and do the same, it doesn't really look too bad. It's almost a very impressive start, and you'd be packing the players on the back of the on the back with their performances and their results.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get a final word from you, Dad and Dean, we're going to head back to socials and see what's being said from you guys watching along at home. Plenty of positivity, really, coming from the fans on socials. David said, "Come on, lads, let's get our first win of the season. I believe in you." Thanks for that comment. Anthony is also with us. He says Redders really needs to show up today. Well, he certainly did when he played against Newcastle. Rosemary said it's all about the team Saints today. She's going for a big 2-1 Saints win. Southampton Vlogs has got in touch as well. So tough, but I think we'll win 1-0. And Philip said stuck in Vietnam because of COVID, wanting to be there. Come on, you Reds. Well, hope you are safe and well, Philip, and we look forward to welcoming you to the stadium soon. But it is that time of the show where before we say goodbye, we come to you guys for your final thoughts ahead of kickoff, see what you think the score's going to be. Dad, we'll come to you first. What's your score prediction for this one then?
I'm going to go for, since we've been talking about it, Dino, I'm going to go for our first clean. Actually, I'd like to think we get our first clean sheet this season, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for us today.
All right, I like the sound of that. Listen, we'll take the 3 points.
Exactly.
Dean, what do you think this is going to be the outcome from this one today?
Yeah, I agree with Franny. I quite fancy Southampton today. I really do. And I'm going to go for that clean sheet, Franny. I think we potentially will get the first clean sheet. I'm not saying West Ham won't have opportunities and chances, but I think a 1-0 win, a well-fought 1-0 win with a goal from Adam Armstrong, I think will be an excellent result
You
today.
thought that would have been the other way round, wouldn't you? As a former defender, like go for the 1-0 and the midfielder maestro that would have scored some goals, yeah, but it shows how things change.
Listen, a win is a win.
Yeah, we'd be happy with either of those. Dean, Franny, thank you so much for joining us here on Saints Live. Well, kickoff is just 45 minutes away here at St Mary's as Southampton look to get their first 3 points of the season against West Ham at home. Now, do join us after for the final whistle, where Dean and Franny will be alongside Kenzie and myself to talk about all the action. So until then, enjoy the match, and we'll see you soon.